Peace and blessings. It is February 18th, one day after the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Let's sit up for that, give that man his proper respect. One day after Reverend Jesse Jackson's passing. I want to touch on three things. A lot's been said in the last 24 hours. There's three things I want to touch on. One, President Barack Obama's official response, his statement. Two, President MAGA Maniac's official response, his statement. Three, the idea that Reverend Jesse Jackson didn't like President Barack Obama. I want to touch on those three things. I might touch on more in a later day, but these are the three things I just got to get off my chest real quick. So, I was going to start off with Donald. Let's start off with Barack Obama. Let's start this off the right way. Statement by President Obama and Mrs. Obama on the passing of Reverend Jesse Jackson. Opening sentence. Michelle and I were deeply saddened to hear about the passing of a true giant, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. For more than 60 years, Reverend Jesse Jackson helped lead some of the most significant movements for change in human history. From organizing boycotts and sit-ins to registering millions of voters, to advocating for freedom and democracy around the world, he was relentless in his belief that we are all children of God, deserving of dignity and respect. Reverend Jackson also created opportunities for generations of African Americans and inspired countless more, including us. Michelle got her first glimpse of political organizing at the Jackson's kitchen table when she was a teenager, and in his two historic runs for president, he laid the foundation for my own campaign to the highest office of the land. Michelle and I will always be grateful for Jesse's lifetime of service and the friendship our families share. We stood on his shoulders. We send our deepest condolences to the Jackson family and everyone in Chicago and beyond who knew and loved him. Barack Obama. Beautiful, wonderful, wasn't self-serving. It was, hey, this is how great this man was. This is what he meant to me. This is what he meant to my wife. This is what he means to our families. This is what he means to the world. Perfection, right? Let's flip the coin. This is from Donald J. Fuck your last name. Do not judge me off of this opening sentence. Do not judge me off. Do not think that all of a sudden I forgot how to read and I have issues reading while trying to read this. If you've ever read any of his tweets, you kind of know how this is about to play out. All right. Okay. The Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead at 84. That's the opening sentence from Donald J. Fuck your last name. The Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead at 84. I knew him well, long before becoming president. He was a good man with lots of personality, grit, and street smarts. Street smarts is actually in quotations. He was very gregarious, someone who truly loved people, despite the fact that I am falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left. Democrats all, it was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. I didn't read that fucked up, that's how it's typed. Rewind. Despite the fact that I'm falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left, comma, Democrats all, comma, it was always my pleasure to help Jesse along the way. So I don't know what that means. Anyway, I provided office space for him in his Rainbow Coalition for years in a Trump building at 40 Wall Street, responded to his request for help in getting criminal justice reform passed and signed when no other president would even try, single-handedly pushed and passed long-term funding for historically black colleges and universities, which Jesse loved, but also which other presidents would not do. Responded to Jesse's support for Opportunity Zones, the single most successful economic development package yet approved for black business/women, and much more. Jesse was a force of nature like few others before him. He had much to do with the election without acknowledgement or credit of Barack Hussein Obama, a man who Jesse could not stand. He loved his family greatly, and to them I send my deepest sympathies and condolences. Jesse will be missed. President Donald J. Fuck your last name. Opening sentence, right? Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead at 84. Stop. Let's compare and contrast. President Barack's opening sentence. Michelle and I were deeply saddened to hear about the passing of a true giant, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. See the difference? Do you see the difference? We could throw away the rest of both of their statements. First sentence. Reverend Jesse Jackson is dead at 84. Thanks. Other one. Michelle and I were deeply saddened to hear about the passing of a true giant, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. All right. Get back to the subject here. One of the things that really stuck out to me in Trump's bullshit is how he went out of his way to break his own arm, patting himself on the back, right? While also simultaneously just randomly sending shots and attacking people, right? I want to go with, despite the fact that I am falsely and consistently called a racist by the scoundrels and lunatics on the radical left. Well, I am definitely a scoundrel and a lunatic on the radical left because I think you're racist. Scratch that. I know you're racist. And this post didn't do much to plead your case against that claim. Let's start off with just your description of Reverend Jesse Jackson. How do you give him his praise? He was a good man with lots of personality. Thanks. Grit. Thanks. And, like I said, it's in quotations, street smarts. Oh, yeah. And he was very gregarious. If you don't know what that means he was very social. You know, he liked to go out and have a good time. All right. Kind of your regular stereotypical, let me just find something nice to say about a black man. He liked to go out and have a good time. Oh, he had grit. Oh, he had street smarts. That's the best we could do for Reverend Jesse Jackson? You reduce him to street smarts? Right? But you don't want to be falsely and consistently called a racist. But the best you could do for one of our great black men is he had grit and street smarts. Right? Let's fast forward to the end, which is going to get into the third thing that I want to talk about. This is a quote from Donald. He had much to do with the election without acknowledgement or credit of Barack Hussein Obama, a man who Jesse could not stand. Okay. Okay. First of all, you don't know shit about their relationship. They couldn't stand you, all right? First off. Second off, you know what you're kind of doing by, you don't even give President Barack the proper credit of saying President Barack Obama. You take off president, okay, cool, I guess president to president, whatever. But you know what you do when you take away that, and then you make sure you sprinkle in Hussein, right? Because to your fellow MAGA maniacs, they hear Barack Hussein Obama. You feel me? And when they hear Hussein, you know what they think of. You know what they think of. You know what that triggers in their brain, right? But that's the slick shit that you think you do. And I guess other people just absorb it and don't even know what they're absorbing. Wow, motherfuckers like me, like, get the fuck out of here with that dumb shit, bruh. All right? Not only that, a man who Jesse could not stand. Well, Jesse seemed to love President Barack Obama. Not only that, I want to talk about some of my black brothers who were also saying, yo, Izzy, but Jesse Jackson said he wanted to kick and rip Barack's nuts off his shit, right? Jesse Jackson is Barack's elder. He's our elder. He's definitely Barack's elder. You know what I mean? They're not peers. Any black man should know that, yeah, our elders gonna be a little spicy with us. It wasn't like, let's put this in proper context. This was not like Reverend Jesse Jackson was like, let me call a press conference. I want all y'all to know, I feel that Barack Obama is blah, 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 in a negative sense. Never did that. He did it in a positive way. He never did it in a negative way. The hot take that they keep referencing about Barack's nuts is from a hot mic. It wasn't like he said it on air. It was, some little sneaky devils had the hot mic on, which you should always assume that the microphone is on, the cameras are on. We know these basics, right? But players fuck up too. Reverend Jesse Jackson, hey, you know what? I got something, need to get this off my chest real quick. And they broadcast it out as if that's what he wanted the world to hear. And it wasn't like he was talking behind his back. Again, we're black men. We know how our elders interact with us. They speak with us a little bit with grit and street smarts out of love, right? Your uncle might say some wild shit to you out of love because you need to hear it. Your dad might say some wild shit to you out of love because you need to hear it. Your grandpa might say some wild shit to you out of love because you need to hear it. And they may not tell everybody else in the world, but if your dad calls you and says, hey, you've been on some bullshit lately, nigga, and you need to tighten it up and get off all that fuck shit, right? And then somebody else hears it like, oh, yeah, you know what? His dad does not like him. And you're like, no, my dad loves me. That was my dad giving me a G-check. That was my dad saying, tighten up, little nigga. Like, it is what it is. Reverend Jesse Jackson is Barack Obama's elder. He's his elder. They're not peers. He is from a generation before. Just like when Reverend Jesse Jackson was a little bit younger, guess what? Brother Dr. Martin Luther King probably said, Brother Jesse, let me tell you something behind closed doors, or to someone to get back to Jesse one time, not out of malice or out of slander. I'm glad I brought that up too. Not out of malice, not out of slander, but out of love and iron sharpening iron, steel sharpening steel, however you want to phrase it. That's what our elders do to us. They polish us up so we can take it a little bit further than them. And guess what President Barack Obama was able to do with the blessing of Jesse Jackson? He got to make it to the promised land. He got to become the president of the United States as a black man, which, let's go back to Barack Obama's statement. And in his 2 historic runs for president, he laid the foundation for my own campaign. Ending Barack Obama's statement, I'm not ending, but the final paragraph, Michelle and I will always be grateful for Jesse's lifetime of service and the friendship our family share. Okay? Now, back to the conspiracy theories. I don't even want to waste my time with this, but motherfuckers is so stupid. They just so stupid. I never even heard it. I've heard the conspiracy theories of Reverend Jesse set up Martin. Really? Fuck out of here, right? But we have black men who believe that and take that shit to heart, and they want to say it to people to be contrarian so they can feel like, oh yeah, let me tell you dumb niggas something you niggas don't even know, blah, 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 blah. Not even know. All they are is some little fucking puppets for white supremacy propaganda. They done took this shit in by some fake-ass independent thinking research that was force-fed to them, and then they want to go spew it to other people like, yeah, okay, so yesterday, I've heard that rumor before. I've heard the rumor of, oh yeah, Jesse set him up. Preposterous, right? But I had never heard the shit until yesterday, which I heard from multiple people. Heard it from one person first and busted his bubble, and then was all in other posts online and seeing it like, what the fuck do these niggas be talking about, yo? Reverend Jesse Jackson tipped off the FBI and the CIA that Dr. Martin Luther King would be wearing a tie. And that's how they could pinpoint him. This is really what niggas are saying. We're talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. here. I promise you, the FBI and the CIA and your mama did not need a fucking tie on him to recognize who he was. I promise you. God strike me dead. I promise you. They did not need a tie on probably the most recognized black person on the planet at the time, for sure. They did not need a tie on him to identify who he was. Right? And then, to add insult to injury to that whole dumbass conspiracy, he wasn't the only person out there with a tie on. So the whole, if it was really Jesse, like, oh, hey, I won't have a tie on, I'll make sure Martin has a tie. Well, guess what? Minister Ralph Abernathy was out there. Guess what he had on? a tie. And I really hate to say that. It just came on my mind. I was ranting and raving about this shit because ultimately these people are all Donald, fuck your last name. All these coons, all these motherfuckers is all like, they're obsessed with self-hate, racism, anti-intellectualism. Like, you don't have to be this smart. And I'm saying I'm that smart. You don't have to be smart, okay? Fuck it, I'm stupid. You don't have to be smart. You don't have to be intelligent to sit here and think like, you think the United States intelligence agencies needed a tie to pinpoint Dr. Martin Luther King? No, they didn't. But what's easy to do is to put that on Reverend Jesse Jackson's jacket, right? So we put that slander on your name a little bit because after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., instead of Jesse being able to go pew and take off, nah, he's constantly kind of weighed down by these fake accusations and shit. He's like, when he's trying to spread his wings, he can't because he's got this on his shoulders. He's got fucking white supremacy on his shoulders. He's got dumb coons on his shoulders, both pulling him down with stupid shit. And that causes the division in the movement. That causes the issue where all of a sudden now it's like, yo, I don't even know what to believe. Maybe he did that shit. So because I don't know, fuck everybody, fuck all of them. It's just about me and mine, which is the worst state of mind in the black community, is me and mine. Okay? That's what destroys communities. That's what destroys unity, which is all anti Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Reverend Jesse Jackson. All right? So, in summary, rest in peace, Jesse Jackson. Rest in peace, Reverend Jesse Jackson. We appreciate you. We love you. We honor you. We respect you. Thank you, President Barack Obama, for giving a proper send-off. And I know this was just, the shit that you put out as your statement. I'm sure you probably called Reverend Jesse Jackson Jr. and his family and all types of people with more, And before I even finish, I know it's going to be dickheads out here going to be like, oh, is he? Obama didn't even write that himself. He probably had somebody else write that for him. Okay, yeah, possibly. Cool, whatever. Unfortunately, we know Donald, fuck your last name, wrote his himself. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about that. I take that back. I stand corrected. Maybe it was the same intern who posted the video last week of Barack and Michelle who wrote Donald, fuck your last name's tweet. What y'all think? I'm tripping. I see this is 18 minutes. My bad. King gets it on the thinker. I'm a long-winded nigga. It is what it is. I see y'all again. So I might just start doing a video every day. I got a lot of shit to say, and each day counts, and we're going to keep it popping. But rest in peace, Reverend Jesse Jackson. Fuck you know who. Fuck his supporters. And fuck the dumb coons who believe the dumb shit. God is the greatest. Keep the faith. Peace.